when I finished matric, I thought to myself, okay, clearly there's this thing that I want to do, which is tell stories. Well, how do I do that? Okay, I can tell stories through television, or like if I want to work on like a soapy or whatever, I need to learn how to write a script. I need to learn the practical skills needed for me to do this thing.
And you're live on Dead Radio.
Welcome to another very special episode of Dead Radio with your boy Ini. And once again, we have a very, very special guest reporting live from the Dead Store, 138 SMUTS. We're going to let our guest introduce herself, and then we're going to get into her life story. And you know how we do, get those jewels for you guys to use in your everyday lives. So without further ado.
Hi, my name is Renae Mangena. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of Iqhawe Magazine and CEO of Iqhawe Media. Outside of that, I do a bunch of things for brands that include event production, creative direction, producing, all that good stuff. But yeah.
Oh, and you have the flyest bag I've ever seen in my life. That's the most important thing.
Thank you.
How are you feeling right now in this very second?
Right now, I'm feeling a bit anxious. Every time I have to talk about stuff, particularly that has to do with what I do, I get anxious because I never want to speak or say things that I'm not too certain of. So I like to speak with certainty. So right now I'm a bit anxious. I'm hoping that this
You'll come. As we go through your life story, it'll be calm.
Yeah.
So how I like to begin every Dead Radio is to predict the future, right?
Okay.
You gotta go into the past. And to know who Renae is today, we gotta start the book at page 1. Right? So tell us about young Renae as a young girl. Where did you grow up? Were you an introvert? Were you an extrovert? Just walk me through that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I was born in Limpopo, I'm Venda. So I was born in Limpopo, and my mother moved to Johannesburg, like most of our parents, to work. And then my father passed away. Then after my father passed away, she then moved us to Johannesburg. So my mother used to clean buildings in Hillbrow. So that's where I grew up and I lived. Most of I think this is from grade 7-ish up until matric towards varsity. Then varsity, I then moved to Bram. So yeah, that's predominantly, I spent a lot of time and grew up in the city. I'm a city girl.
You're a city girl.
Like in true nature.
Wow.
Which I think a lot of people may not know that about me.
Yeah.
And growing up in Hillbrow was so fascinating because my favorite thing about it was I got to really intersect with people from very different walks of life. And that was, I think, the beauty of it. So in my high school, everyone that I went to high school with was maybe from a different country or from a different experience that I maybe was not familiar with. And I loved that in our everyday interactions and getting to know each other's people. There was that, and I think that's something that I still carry with till this day. And I guess hence my interest in telling stories and was sparked because I think those were kind of some of the fundamental stages that I learned or was intrigued by this idea of telling someone's story, be whatever medium that looks like. So I'm growing up in Hillbrow. Also, what was really nice about it is that I think, and I was saying this I think it was a few months ago, I was doing this documentary film with Lebu Mashego, about culture and the origins of my first experience of culture.
Okay.
And I was telling her that I think I felt like I grew up in a space where the boys in packs were a thing in Brown. Yeah, the Skotanians.
What an era.
I'm a Puja. What an era. So being a teenager in the city at that time felt like there were so many things that you could tap into and like subcultures and like really like beautiful things that you could find you can find community in. I was not part of any of those, but I was more of just like being around spaces where stuff was being cultivated. And I think, yeah, that's one of the things I really appreciate about having grown up in the city and being able to access those spaces. So
I get that.
Yeah, so that's then I finished high school, and then I went to WITS to study film. And
let's pause
yeah.
right there.
Yes.
So, end of high school, right? Yeah. Why do you decide to go and study film? Like, because there's so many different paths that you could have taken. Why film?
That's such a good question. I have two answers for it. So the first reason is because, so initially I thought that I wanted to do acting. So I used to be part of a drama club in high school.
I mean, you can still do it.
No. Is
that dream dead?
Absolutely. No. I thought I wanted to do acting. So I loved like just being on stage. I thought it was cute at the time, to be quite honest. So then when I finished matric, I thought to myself, okay, clearly there's this thing that I want to do, which is tell stories. Well, how do I do that? Okay, I can tell stories through television, or like if I want to work on like a soapy or whatever, I need to learn how to write a script. I need to learn the practical skills needed for me to do this thing. Because I had known, I think by matric, that acting may not necessarily be something that I want to do. Or actually, I don't think I was that good at it. If I'm being honest,
let's get to the center of the
I don't think I was that good. I was never given the lead.
But that takes so much self-awareness. Because a lot of people lack self-awareness.
I hear you.
They'll force things until you get me, but that's so self-aware for you as a teenager.
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't think I'm that good of an actress. So then that's when I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna study film. Funny enough though, before I got accepted at WITS, as a backup plan, I had applied to Stellenbosch to study law. Which I think about, I'm like, life is so interesting, because I promise if I had been accepted there, I probably would have gone, because it's just like, okay, cool, I'll do this law thing. Well, because I feel like, I think about that sometimes where I digress, but I really wish that you were not asked to make really crucial decisions about your life
when
at
you're 18. That's so unfair.
It doesn't make sense to me, especially because I feel like the decisions are very limited, especially sometimes based on like your background, influences from your family. There's so much that you still need to figure out. And I wish the world allowed for a bit of grace when it comes to decision making at that time. So I then got accepted, and I was like, oh yeah, this is it. Like this let me do this. And what I liked about the application at WITS, they make you do an assignment of sorts. So they don't just take you. So you do like a thing where you present stuff. So during that process of doing that, I think it further like reaffirmed that, oh, okay, this is really something that I want to do and I'm interested in learning more about. And then going into university, I was more certain than ever that
this is the path.
You know what? This is it.
And was this a conversation that you had with your mom? Was she like, yo, go and do this film thing? Because Black parents, it's not their fault, but I'm just highlighting something. A lot of creative pathways, they don't want their kids to take those paths because it's uncertain. Right? How does she feel about you walking through this?
You know, it's so interesting. My mom is one of the most open-minded people that I know. So, I mean, open-minded to a certain degree, but her thing is always, she will support the thing that you want to do as long as she can clearly see that like you're working towards like something. So like she's not going to support something that she feels like you are not actively
you're not
like,
even serious
you're
about
not
this
serious
thing.
about it. So when I remember my older, so I'm the youngest of four. So my older brothers and my sister were very not supportive of it because like, I mean, they're more, they know more, I guess, about stuff, and like they've followed like traditional paths. So when I then told, and also I'm very adamant. I'm very like, if I'm doing something, I'm really doing it. So I felt like when I then had the conversation with my mom, it wasn't something that was a hard sell because I feel like she had trusted and known that like I wouldn't do something that I don't think is going to say, like my mom trusts me a lot, and I appreciate that because I sometimes when I speak to other people and it seems I hadn't known that it's something that I should count as a privilege until I then maybe speak to other people in the different relationships that they have with their parents. But my mom has always given me, she trusts me, and I think that has also helped me sometimes trust myself a bit more because whether this fails or it doesn't, and also understanding the fact that if this doesn't work out, we are still living in Hillbrow. There's a financial aspect to that has to be carried, right? So if I'm chasing a film career that goes nowhere, what does that look like? And all this to say, I think I'm really like privileged and grateful that my mom was very understanding and she supported me through it all. Yeah. Shout out to Renae Mangena.
Damn. Yeah. Nothing is promised in life, right? That's the thing. Like, even if you go and study law, I mean, it's safer.
But it's
not promised.
Not at all.
You don't know.
Not at all.
You could be like a receptionist for your whole life.
You're really good. With an honors.
Yeah, you gotta roll the dice,
you
right?
Have to, yeah.
Okay, back on your timeline, right? So now you're in WITS. What are you actually studying in terms of film?
So what happens at WITS is that for the first 2 years they give you, and I'm so grateful, like I really am grateful for this. So they give you, you have to learn everything. So you're learning script writing, you're learning directing, you're learning how to use a camera. They don't restrict you in terms of like what practice you need to do, right? Then when you go then into your third year, that's when you start then specializing. And so for the first 2 years, we were basically learning as much as possible just so that when you are, and also it then builds you up to say, okay, if you want to specialize in directing, you can still operate your own camera because a lot of the times if you're making indie films, there's no budget. So if you still want to be able to make a project alone, it's something that you can still work around. So for the first 2 years, I was just learning everything. Then I then decided my third year that I wanted to primarily focus on directing and screenwriting. So those were my two majors. And particularly both in directing fiction as well as fact, so just understanding like the navigations of both. And yeah, I liked directing because like when I then stepped in, I felt like if I'm going to be able to walk into a set, I want to be someone that is in control of like what is being shot, and you know, like I really enjoyed that, and I really wanted to be able to create stuff and bring my ideas to life and then be able to have the skills to do that. So I felt like really directing would allow me to do that, and then it's the nice link between me writing a world and then me directing its creation. So those were kind of like the reasons why I wanted to specifically focus on those two and then major in those two. Yeah.
Do you end up graduating? Do you
Yes.
finish?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people don't finish.
I know. No. I finished. It's so funny. I graduated in 2020, the worst year to graduate.
COVID.
The worst.
Deep inside COVID.
The worst. I remember, my final year was 2020, and then because there was so many like there was just usually what happens is that you guys have the freedom to come to lectures, create the films. I mean, filmmaking is a physical practice. It's not like other things where you're writing and you're studying and then you write an exam and that's how you pass. We still needed to make our films. So now trying to navigate virtual classes, that it was quite a bit of a challenge.
I'm sure it was weird. Like, what?
And I feel like, it almost felt like, and I guess like a reflection of a lot of other things. Really, as a people, we really were not ready for COVID. Like, I don't think we really were not.
There's no way you can prep for that. There's no way.
But yeah, so what happens is that, so for the final project, this was like, I think, where we really had to think outside of the box and really like challenge ourselves. So I really wanted to make my final year film, because that's what they grade you on, right? In order for you to graduate. So the people that I had been working with, we were put into groups, and then we were then going to make a final year submission. This was for directing. So it was really bothering me that there were so many restrictions, and like there was so many things that we were not able to do. So then I wait, just when like the lockdown restrictions were not as bad, we then asked that we be given equipment to shoot, because the film that we wanted to shoot outside the province, and that's not allowed usually.
You can't leave the province.
Because like it's, so then we had to like really like beg and ask that, okay, we really think the story is worth it, that, you know, like, so by the grace of the Lord and like our lecturers' support, we then got the stamp to be able to shoot. So we went to shoot in Thaba Nchu. Funny enough, how we even decided that we wanted to shoot in Thaba Nchu for that final year film, we were writing the script, and then in the script we kept making a reference of like mountains, this beauty, the beauty of a landscape, right? Because it felt like it was so important to the narrative. Then we went on Google and said nearest place to Joburg with mountains.
With mountains, of course.
Then for some reason Thaba Nchu came up, and I guess the name also just made sense. So we're like, okay, cool, we're gonna go to Thaba Nchu. We then started raising money for us to be able to travel. And like, man, I really love the beauty of community, because people will support you. So many people, our family, our friends, and like just people who were around at the time, then gave us money to travel and like go to shoot this film. Then we also then got the backing of the university to then get equipment. But the problem is we get there and we don't know anybody in Thaba Nchu.
Of course not.
We're just here to shoot. And this is so, I really like, when I think about this, it makes me really like, feel like when you're in alignment with stuff that you want to do and you're also working, things work out for you. So when we got there, we had known someone, we said that we're gonna land at like where we're gonna be sleeping, right? When we got there, the lady who was kind of like helping us out knew like every aspect of like what we needed to do. It just so happened she was also a police officer, but that also had, so navigating the space became a bit easier because she's familiar with the community. She was getting her husband and her brother to help us. It was just like such a beautiful thing to experience. And then we made the film and came back. And that was the graduation film, and this is like towards the end of 2020, and like I think that in experiencing all of that and like working towards like some sort of like success towards like the film becoming what it was, I think it really made me realize that literally like things are possible. You just kind of decide and you work towards it, and like it will happen, man.
Making a decision, the most difficult thing, but the most freeing thing, right? Yeah. Because like the book, The Alchemist says, right? Once you make a decision and go down that path, things open up for you. They do. Right?
They do.
Fuck, that's incredible. So you graduate, what comes next for you? Like what was your perspective on, okay, now I've graduated, I've gathered up all these skills. What were you thinking next? Were you thinking, I want to go work in a production house, or I'm going to start my own production house, or walk me through
What happened?
Yeah, what you were thinking.
So, it's 2020. I realized even till this day I juggle a lot of balls at the same time. In 2020, I think around when was it? I think July, August. There's an advertising agency called Think Creative Africa. It's run by 2 Black women, and they were running an initiative where they wanted to give a young woman an internship instead of, you know how companies would do a Happy Women's Day, so they wanted to be a bit more practical about giving back. So they opened it up, and then I had applied, I did the interview, and then I got accepted into that internship. Which is so amazing because I was away. So I had known that it's important that I start working while I'm still in university and trying to figure out different opportunities and stuff. So in my final year, I was then introduced to the advertising world through that. So I did that for a couple of months. And then I kind of realized that advertising is not for me because I feel like there's a lot that happens in the ad space where it needs really a certain kind of character, which I felt like at the time I really didn't have. Okay. So then I was like, okay, cool. I'm not too sure about the ad industry. Then while I was still there, I found out about a job opportunity at YFM where they're looking for a content producer, a junior content producer. So I applied for that. So I then got the interview, and then I then started working at YFM. Crazy. So yeah, but I think it's worth mentioning though that in all honesty, the reason I'd gotten these opportunities is because I'd already started Iqhawe. So I started Iqhawe in university when I was in 3rd year. Okay. So the platform had been existing. I'd been doing stuff with the platform. So when I then walked into a space and to say, oh, this is what I'm doing and this is how I've done it, I really do think that it helped in opening up a few doors because it seemed like maybe other candidates that were applying for the job maybe had not had job, because if it's an entry level job, then all of us are maybe just finished varsity and maybe don't have a lot of experience. So I'm at YFM. It's exciting because radio, it's just that I was doing the morning shift. So now I'm waking up at
what time? 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
I need to be at the studio so early. Oh man, it's so funny. I'd be in the taxi with security guards.
Of course, because you are the only people who are awake at that time.
Literally. So yeah, I'm working at YFM, but at the same time, I'm still actively building Iqhawe and just ensuring that I'm juggling both. Then I realized, okay, cool, I think I can't do another 4 a.m. I cannot. I then move into the finance industry, which was so interesting because I know, I really, it surprised me. But
you're amazing at pivoting.
Thank you. I think so too.
That's really
I think so too. So what's funny though is that in these jobs, and it was something that I think it's great that I got to learn while I'm there. But a lot of companies need a creative outlet. So yes, I'm still doing it's not like now I'm working for something very different from what I've studied. I'm still producing video content and marketing, really creating stuff that specifically that work towards creating the brand's storytelling, all those different things. So I'm grateful that I was able to do that in different aspects of like in different industries essentially. So when I'm in the finance world, I'm working for I think the finance world really helped me in like a lot of ways, and I think about this till this day. So I was working for the company. The company was based in the UK, and but they still had South African offices. But when I started, they were fully remote. So what was great about that is that I can do my job and I can focus on building my child. You know what I mean?
I get
so
you.
if things are needed, I'm able to do it, but I'm able to pay my bills, and things are like proper in terms of like just juggling what in balance. So within the job that I had at the time, I am learning a lot about like organizational structures, what they look like, organizational systems, what it means to set up a structure that enables you to run a company, essentially. Because I had, in the radio world, I mean, sure, it's an organization, but it's more flexible and stuff. So with finance, it's very like, we are doing this is the time we're doing it. And I appreciated that because it really opened my perspective on like a lot of things, and like I still carry a lot of the things that I learned there into running Iqhawe, the agency, and like knowing how things function and knowing what to say, how to say it in order to get certain results. And I think, and also having worked in a way, in the space where the company has many offices, so I'm working with different people from different parts of the world. So that was also quite refreshing. And then I then decide that I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna keep this job and I'm gonna keep like working at it till I know that finally I'm gonna leave this to go have Iqhawe be my full-time. I'm planning, I have a 3-4 year plan, I know what I'm doing. Then life is like, oh no, actually you're gonna get retrenched at the company. It's so funny though, I'd survived I was let go by the 4th retrenchment, so they did 3 before then.
So I'm sure by the 3rd one you're like,
you know what?
I'm good, bro.
But yeah, so then that was then what pushed me to then have Iqhawe be like, okay, this is now
everything.
This is now everything, and this is now happening. Last year? Yeah. So that's kind of like from varsity to today.
Now,
yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's double click and open the folder Iqhawe.
Yes.
Right. How does that come to you? Why the name? And how did you start? Like, why?
Why? Okay. So when I was in varsity, I was trying to start working and like get opportunities within the space. I was trying, you know, the route that everyone takes, DMs, emails. Because you're trying to get into the space. Because I was really worried. I've always had a fear of unemployment. Till this day, because I'm aware of, like unemployment is really like something that will rock you in a space where, not even just unemployment, but the ability to not be able to maybe feed yourself or like,
money.
Or just earn money outside of everything.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
I want to highlight that because school, right, teaches us the way school is designed. It was designed to help fund and propel the Industrial Revolution, right? So that's why schools are, people sit at desks, there's a bell, there's someone who stands in front and teaches, right? But schools have taught people that employment is the only way to generate income, which is a lie, right? How you generate money is providing value. That's it. So a lot of people are trapped, me myself, until I broke out and realized, like, no, that's actually a lie.
That's not a real
You don't
thing.
actually need to be employed. You just need to provide value, and in exchange for that value, you get money.
You'll be paid for it.
But I get exactly how you're feeling.
No, absolutely. It was really something that I was quite fearful of, because, and going back to that trust that my mother had installed in the sense that you said that you could do this, then do the thing.
Do it.
Do the thing.
Let's see.
Let's see it. So, so from second year to just third year, I was constantly wanting opportunity and like really wanting to seek it out. And then I then quickly realized like, oh, okay, this is actually harder than I had realized. I'm not getting a response. Production companies are not.
They're not saying anything.
They're not saying anything. It's,
Blue tick. Yeah.
It's dead silence.
Yeah.
So what I then do is I'm like, maybe let me. At the time, I wasn't even thinking like about it as like a thing, but I was like, like I think like let me start a blog or like something where I can write about the industry. Then maybe if I'm then saying to this person, hey, I'm writing this thing, would you mind doing that? Then imparting knowledge, then other people, like as a way to say, hey, this is information, take it, use it, this will help you navigate your career, essentially. Like, I was like, okay, let me help myself, but help other people, you know what I mean? At the time, generally, because then it will then allow me access to spaces, because and people. Then I'm like, no, a blog is not going to do what I think it'll do, because maybe I also want to do other things. So I'm like, actually, let it be a magazine. At the time, generally, I always say this, I'm part of those people how hard can it be people who just...
Come on, let's go.
I could build a building. Like, what?
I love that.
What? Like, come on.
I love that.
I could watch a few YouTube videos. Then I hit up a couple of people that I knew at the time to say, hey, guys, I want to do this thing. I think we could make it happen, and I think it could work. Then there was 5 of us at the time. So you asked about the name. So with the name, I had gone through like different names. I knew I wanted it to be a vernacular name. I knew I didn't want it to be vendor, because I was worried that if it was a vendor name, it wouldn't land quickly enough, and it would, like, I don't know. I was like, oh, everyone in I'm a Johannesburg person. Everyone in Johannesburg speaks Zulu.
Thanks.
So I don't know. I thought about then Iqhawe just I don't even remember when it came, but it came to me, and then I was like, okay, cool. I think this makes sense. I Googled the definition, and also in what I was trying to do, uplift and tell stories. And if you are a hero and we look up to you, then you are, like, I don't know. I
love that.
It made sense.
Yeah.
Then Iqhawe is born, and it's born with like 5 other people at the time. And we're figuring things out. And then a couple of months into it, all 4 of them like kind of leave. They're like, girl, it's actually...
I can't do this.
Nah, no. And I was shattered, really, really shattered, because we'd been doing content, and at the time we used to release like issue every month. And also what was important about like that very initial inception is that a lot of it was happening on Canva, right? A lot of it was me like really pulling from this, that, and the other, then trying to make it work. The first issue I think will always be my favorite, because it's just a reflection of that starting thing.
Of course.
Regardless, starting the thing. And it's so funny because some of the pages don't even align. So like it goes from 8-5 to So when everyone then leaves, I won't lie, like it was one of those things where you're really like, because when you're starting something with people, they give you the what is it? Like you feel like there's some sort of validation in you thinking that this is something that's valid. Then when they then say, no, we're leaving.
They leave with that.
Yes, because 4 people saying it feels very, it really like hit me a bit hard. So then, but because I'm really not, I really don't like stopping or like giving up on something. I really don't. I will really like pursue something until I'm like, okay, I've given it my all and I've tried, therefore I can leave. So I then go to Limpopo. I went to Limpopo for a month. It was for like, the holidays was around like, because I was still in varsity. I go to Limpopo for, 3 weeks actually. And when I'm in Limpopo, maybe it was like this idea of stepping away from a situation, so that allows you to really see things as clear and as bright as we possibly can. And those 3 weeks really allowed me to think and be like, okay, cool, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm
Here's
gonna
my
build
plan.
these are the
Let's go. Yeah.
So I then come back, and then that's when I formulate that, like, to say, okay, I'm gonna get a new team, I'm gonna start from scratch, and what's then gonna happen? This is how everyone's gonna come in on a freelance basis, and this is what's gonna happen. So that's then when I met my now business partner, Anna, because her and I met at film school, but we hadn't worked together. Yeah, so.
Shout out to Anna.
Shout out to Anastasia.
I actually know Anna.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Meant through life, but yeah, shout out to Anna.
No, love her. That is my life partner. So so that's then when she joined the magazine, and then her and I were like working very closely together, and I think, I won't lie, Anna's being part of the magazine at the time that she joined really meant that, and I think I really still appreciate this till this day, she really took it and made it her own. Even like her and I, and that's hence now we run it together, and we're business partners. She came in, took it and made it her own. And that made me realize that so much possible because of the fact that, like, we're dreaming together, we're ideating together, we're working towards building this thing together, and it's something that feels possible because she's saying it's possible, and I'm validating her ideas and she's validating mine. And I think that without that, maybe I would not have continued and like been here, to be quite honest. Yeah,
I get that. Yo. Everyone needs someone like that in their corner, right? Because being a dreamer is so difficult. Because I always say that you can't escape the gravity of reality, right? And every day you wake up as a dreamer, life is just like, are you sure you want to do this? Okay. So shout out to her.
Absolutely. I think I'm eternally grateful for Anastasia. Yeah.
How do you guys figure out how to monetize this, right? Because that's always such a tricky thing for people who start platforms, blogs, magazines. Like, how did you guys find that missing piece?
This two things happened. So first thing that happened is that we had always known that we wanted to treat it as a business, but to be quite honest, like 4 years into it, we were not making a cent for it, and we were like 5 years. Yeah, literally, we were spending more money.
It says it takes most people. It takes them 10 years.
Yeah, literally, yes. So what Anna and I then, so when I was starting my career, when I got the job at YFM, that meant that I was not able to do certain. So we had applied for an entrepreneur program with the Goethe Institute. So what then happened is that I couldn't make it for like the physical classes then, but Anna at the time had more time on her because she was freelancing. Okay. So she would attend those classes. And even, so she was attending like, so what they were doing, they had people, Nandi Lepu and like some really key creative entrepreneurs in the space where they literally telling you, this is what I've done, this is how I've been able to monetize and do these different things, and this is how this works. And what Anna and I would do every time, because I was not able to attend, we would have a weekly like catch up speaking to
what she just got.
Yes, which is I really think like amazing. We got to learn so much, and another thing that I think we did, which was great, was that they also gave you like it's like marriage counselor, but for businesses. So this person takes you through like what this looks like, what you guys need, all of that. But so that was one of the first aspects of like knowing how to like turn and think about Iqhawe as like a proper business. But the one that I think was also like really like fundamental, Bubblegum Club hosted a workshop a couple of years ago that was about running a magazine. And Jamal and Lex were facilitating that. I attended that, And this was, it was like funny enough, it was like, I think a day workshop, but it wasn't like multiple sessions. It was one day, you woke up in the morning, start like 9, and then it was like a full day thing. And I remember Jamal and Lex walking us through everything, the skeleton of their business and stuff that I really had no idea. They mentioned that you need to run an agency. So you need to be able to have an agency that does work that sometimes is not even making it on the platform. This is how the offerings look like. This is when you're monetizing your numbers. This is how you can think about it. This is really like mind-blowing, like stuff that I had not known. I was thinking we're gonna make money through advertising, and it's harder because if you have like, let's say 5,000 followers and you haven't built a platform that people think they can still believe that they can buy into, it becomes difficult to sell advertising. It was just a really difficult thing and I thought if we have more numbers, then we will be able to, but it wasn't the case at all.
Because that's what most people think.
That's what most people
get
think.
your numbers up and then the brands will be like...
No, you have to communicate value.
Dope.
Because it's one, and the value in your audience. So, because it's one thing to have 100,000 followers, but it's another to have a specific community that's cultivated, that's interested, that is ensuring that they're engaging with your product. And if I'm now buying into your numbers, I know exactly what the value trade exchange is for me as a consumer or as a brand. So, and then that was one of the things that we then worked at cultivating, right? Like that community, what that community looks like, who they are, what they do, all those different things. And because then we know our value, and I think that's another thing that has helped us even to this day. When we say no to certain things, because we understand, we know our community, they're not gonna wanna like...
Yeah, it's not gonna make sense.
We're not gonna try sell them Forex, then like as an example, because that's not our platform, or like that's something that we're not necessarily like, that's something, we know our audience, we know how we speak to them, and we're constantly learning and understanding them. But maybe a different platform that's specifically to like the finance industry, that could make sense. Yeah. So what happens is that I come back from that workshop, and then we're like, okay, cool, boom, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to change. These are the specific implementations that we need to start being very intentional about Iqhawe as the platform, and then Iqhawe Media as the agency that owns Iqhawe Magazine. Okay. The magazine is a platform, and like we do so much more outside of just the magazine. Okay. That's just housed by, the parent is the agency.
I get that.
So, and it's so crazy that I hadn't registered Iqhawe when I did the CIPC registrations. I hadn't registered the company as Iqhawe Magazine. I'd registered it as Iqhawe Media because it was a media entity. Hence, like it didn't make sense. It's just that we're operating as Iqhawe Magazine. So that's kind of really like, that was the pivot, knowing what we didn't know prior, then now working towards implementing it, really building that value, that outside of just numbers, but like what value are we presenting to the space, and like how can we then offer it on the table and say this is how much it is.
Okay, yeah. I love that. Building communities, understanding the intricacies of the back end, and putting those things together. I love that. Yeah. You guys have sat down with a lot of different creatives, right? In different fields in creativity, right? I'm always interested in golden threads, right? And maybe you might not be conscious of it, but are there certain things that you've seen after covering these different creatives, successful creatives? Are there certain things that you've seen as a golden thread with all of them?
That's such an interesting question.
Because I do feel like there's a golden thread with successful people. They show up on time.
Really?
A lot of success, more than not.
More than, okay.
Right?
Yes.
Because there are exceptions to every rule.
Of course, yeah.
They work hard, they work smart. they have a network. Yeah, those are just things on the top of my head. But there are golden threads that exist in life.
You know, actually, I think I thank you, because that then I can now answer it. What I realized with a lot of the people that, and I think that's why then they end up on our platform. A lot of the people, the thread that I realized is they are very, they decide on the thing that they want to do, right? So I want to, I'll make an example. Frosana, right? He's really what has built him as an amazing director is telling stories about the township in a very beautiful way. Like, it's stunning. It's one of the most beautiful things I've seen. I then think about Zandile Chabalala, who we featured very early on in her career. The way that she treats her bodies, the black body, and how she represented it, and the way that even her work continues to evolve, and like the representations that she's interested in, phenomenal. I think about Sandile Mhlongo, who's an art director. He's very meticulous. He's very like about everything that he does. You can see that there's a specific interest, and like he's constantly like really like reimagining worlds and building worlds, and like he does it whether through music or through art direction. His worlds, his imagination, like you can see it in the music video. You see it like come to life, and I think. Who else? Just like I think of these are some of the people that are coming top of mind, right? Yeah. So the beauty of all of that is that I think they are very, very interested in, like, there's a specific thing that they want to say, then everything else just becomes like so there's like a core of why
intention.
Yes, there's a core intentionality around the work that they create, and then everything else kind of like bleeds and like connects to that very like specific core intentionality. I think that, and this is not to say that I'm speaking about intentionality in you being known for one thing or you creating one thing that centers your work, but I'm speaking about you understanding the core of why you want to create, and then that being the overarching center that then
of your work,
and then it fuels everything else, and it's just so beautiful to watch and like speak about.
Yeah, golden threads exist in life. People just aren't paying close enough attention.
Yeah,
you get me?
I hear you.
People think it's everything else, the clothes they're wearing, the friends they have.
Yeah.
It's way deeper than that. I just wanted to like tap into that. Now, as someone who's very focused on documenting and archiving South African creatives, the landscape. Yeah. What's your perspective on the scene through a 2025 lens? Like, are you happy about what's going on? Like, what's your feeling?
I actually really am, and I'll tell you why. I think the beauty of being alive in 2025 and like being in a space where I'm seeing the industry and I'm seeing people come in and like I'm part of like the people who are telling people's stories is that I love that there's so much freedom. And I don't mean freedom in the sense of like, I mean free will.
Yes,
I mean in the sense that like, the kind that Nina Simone spoke about.
Of course. Of course.
And I mean like, you really can wake up tomorrow and say that you want to be a musician. You can wake up tomorrow after having practiced as a producer for 20 years, then say that actually, I want to be a home DJ. Yeah. Or tomorrow you can wake up and say that actually I want to be a photographer. I want to do this, I want to do that. And that's one of the things that I really love about practicing in this space is that there's so much freedom, there's free will, there's support in like you deciding what you want to do and there being a space for you to cultivate it and it being recognized and received very well. I'm thinking, and we've always been like that, to be quite honest. It's just that now I guess I'm just speaking specifically in a time where like Iqhawe exists and like we're also part of like the
scene.
the ecosystem. But that's one of my favorite things about being in the space today is that like there's so much like freedom to really do what you want to do, and like there's backups. There's a backup. You can be backed up, and you can cultivate a community at whatever given time. I think about a subculture like your Kweles, where like they're just a bunch of kids that want to do cool things, and that are doing cool things. And I think that is why we were able to exist in the space, because we were given a space to say, this is what we want to do and this is how we're going to do it. And it was received well. So I really, really love the freedom that we have as creatives at the moment. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, I love that. In the beginning of our conversation, you spoke about all the subcultures that inspired you, right? Now let's forward to present day, right? I have a perspective on the time that we're living in, and I think that it is the death of subcultures, right? I'm just asking your opinion on this. And I feel like youth culture, creative culture has now become just one thing. Everyone dresses in black, everyone listens to Drake, Kendrick, everyone goes specifically here, everyone drinks the same thing. Like, it feels like the world is under mass hypnosis, right? And I feel like individuality is being lost through the cracks. What do you think about that?
It's so funny. I mean, sure, a part of that I think is true, but I also don't 100% agree with that. I think, sure, what's being spotlighted and what brands are tapping into, it feels the same. And by that I mean like when you go to like, you'll see 5 ads that look the same, or you'll see 5 campaigns that look the same. So therefore the idea is that, and then sometimes also when you are in a space, you'll see some of like very similar people that link to your interests and whatever. But I think that when you step outside of that, you then get to see other things that are happening in the world that are not necessarily linked to like this sense of individuality being lost. So how I'm understanding it is, I think of like the emerging genre of, I know it's a music genre of Limpopo right? But I mean, sure, in like their group of how they will look the same, they all dress the same, but like that is something that is completely different to like what maybe I, as someone who is living in Johannesburg, had seen and whatever. They're a group of people that are completely different to like kids that you see maybe in Brooklyn, New York. It's a specific thing that is here and that is South African. I think about like, what else? There's this, it was a video that I saw the other day of these, it's a hard metal punk group. I think it's from Lesotho or something. Or I'm not too sure.
Well, I'm from Botswana, and in Botswana there's a huge community of punk rock guys.
Yes.
It's a culture.
It's a culture.
So deep.
I saw the video was quite short, but I saw like these really beautiful, like these kids look amazing. So I say this, and it's something that maybe I generally have not seen in the streets of like, I don't know, Parkhurst, you know.
Of course not.
You know what I mean? So I think that, I don't necessarily think that individuality is dead, but I think that the people who are responsible for bringing smaller pockets of culture that are happening in spaces that are outside of mainstream are not doing their jobs. Because then if we were doing our jobs and we were seeing more of things that are outside of our everyday, we would see that like individuality is existing, and we're pushing culture forward because we're researching, we're anthropological about it, we're researching, we're bringing and unearthing these things to life. And I think the more we do that, I think we'll see more cool stuff. Man.
And we'll disrupt the algorithm, because that's what I'm afraid of. We're all on the same algorithm, we're all liking the same pictures, we're all laughing at the same jokes. I'm very worried.
You worried.
But I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear
but
you.
I also hear what you're saying. It's one of those, man.
Yeah.
it's really one of those.
It's the gift and the curse of the internet, right?
Yeah.
Are you working on anything exciting that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, at the moment, we are currently working on like a pre-production for our 14th issue. And why this is exciting for us is because we are like, it's going to be very massive. I'll say that. I don't want to share too much.
Yeah, of course.
But it's something that we are working like really tirelessly towards. And I think that because of the success of the previous issue, we realized that like, okay, cool, we kind of need to take it up a notch and like see what that looks like. We are going to be specifically covering the fashion industry. We've never done that before.
Dope.
And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited because I'm excited particularly about like the visual language that we're trying to put across with the issue. I'm excited about like the angle that we're trying to work at. And I'm also excited about like really like, I'm really fascinated about like having a thought be earthed or birthed rather, then you see it
Come together.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Okay.
So
I guess we'll be...
Please.
We're waiting.
Please, and
We're
it's
waiting.
print. It's gonna. This one is also gonna be both digital and print.
Okay, I love that. This has been such a dope conversation for me. I've seen you from the beginning. Your nerves have steadily calmed down until we're here.
Yeah.
Right? And I want you, as we wind down this conversation, I want you to give us your last piece of advice, right? To the dreamers, to the people in film school right now who are like, I'd really love to start a magazine, but I don't think I can. Or I'd really like to pivot and go and do this, but I'm not sure I can.
Yeah.
What's your last piece of advice to that person?
I don't want to sound, like that cliche thing that you give, and then it's just like, what does this person say?
But cliches are cliches for a reason.
Because they work.
Right, because they actually work.
And this, because it has worked for me for like every single thing that I've done and I've tapped into. I really think that, particularly like young Black girls, I think we really need to exist in the world audaciously. And by audaciously, I mean just like deciding. And it goes back to that thing. I was having last night, a friend of mine was telling me that they're reading this thing that they were telling them the difference between decisions and choices is that choices are just like options that are put forth in front of you. But when you make a decision, it's very linked to then like a trajectory so that you then take. So I really think that being audacious and then moving audaciously and deciding and really like stepping into like what you want to do, whatever that looks like, has really like brought me to be the person that I am today. And then also because I'm audacious about it, I step into it saying, yeah, I think it's going to work, with no backup, with no real reason to say this is going to work out. Because a lot of the times you're having to fight like battles that are external. But if you've already said, dude, I'm going to make this work and I'm going to make sure that whatever it looks like, I'm audacious about it and I've decided, the battle feels, you're not fighting for your life as hard as you can be or whatever, because you've already decided. And I think that in making the decision and then doing the thing, that's when because I hate when I meet people and then someone's saying, oh, I'm still thinking about doing this, that, and the, it's one of the things that I hate it so much. I like when I have a conversation with someone and they say that, oh, I did this thing and this is that, and then we have a conversation. But I really think that young Black women who, specifically those who are from like very specific economic backgrounds where you've never been told that you have the audacity to dream, I think that let's be a bit more audacious in dreaming.
I love that.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This was a lovely conversation.
Shout out to you.
These were great questions.
Thank you. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back with another episode of Dead Radio from your boy Ini.